What's up fam, it's Cam coming at you from the 2-6. Welcome back to Carolina Fragrance Reviews. So how is 2021 going for you so far? Boy, we're only 6 days in and already getting excited. I guess it just depends on how you want to put it. But we won't talk about that. What we are going to talk about is if we could just keep 10 winter fragrances for life and then base that off of what we are currently wearing or what is mostly in our rotation right now in the dead of winter. 5 niche, 5 designer. Without any further ado, let's get into this. So now that you let that intro sink in a little bit, what would be your keep 10 for life? 5 designer, 5 niche, or 10 niche, 10 designer, whichever it would be. Let me know down in the comments. Also make sure that you stick around to the end so you can see which channels I've tagged and then we'll see what they pick. So these are gonna be in no particular order. What I'm gonna do is do 1 designer, then 1 niche, and so on and so forth until we get down to the last one. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still wishing that Christmas was still here. All the preparation, putting up the Christmas lights, and I had one of the most festive houses in my neighborhood, or actually like probably within at least 5 or 6 miles. So a well-known or beloved designer fragrance that is known to be that holiday type fragrance. Yes, I am talking about Burberry London. Compliment magnet, warm, spicy, cozy, definitely gets the job done. Some of the notes in this are cinnamon, lavender, tobacco, and port wine. You cannot go wrong with this one, especially, you know, when this thing can be bought easily for around 20 bucks US. So yeah. So this is definitely a must-have for this time of year. So as I said, I'm going to be featuring fragrances that I'm currently wearing. So if we had to like freeze this moment and just pick 10 fragrances from what was getting a lot of rotation, that's where we're going. And this is a fragrance I haven't talked about. I guess maybe it might have showed up in a video like last year, and it's kind of been out of sight, out of mind, but I'm glad that I have been pulling it back out. This one actually is kind of a surprise, especially when you think about JUSBOX 12-Hour Dream. Now, as some of you may or may not know, JUSBOX bases their fragrances influenced or inspired by music. This one was inspired by Pink Floyd. Now it's also known to be like a patchouli fragrance. So if you think patchouli, Pink Floyd, you think like hippie. No, it's not that type of patchouli. As a matter of fact, it has some saffron, vanilla, so you've got a nice spiciness, then some sweetness that comes in from that vanilla, mixed with patchouli and sandalwood. A very well put together fragrance, a compliment beast, and has excellent sillage and longevity. My next designer pick is from MIYAKE, who actually kills wintertime fragrances, and this is one of my absolute favorite. It was a 2019 release, Pulse of the Night. It is still getting lots and lots and lots of love, and rightfully so. Yeah, because of all that love, it is a little bit harder to find on the cheap. I don't even know if you can find it on the cheap. I guess it just depends on what you consider on the cheap. But gauging off of what some of the other MIYAKE fragrances can be bought, is kind of like what it is. But it's worth what you have to pay for it. If you have to pay 50, 60 bucks, it's definitely worth it. So you're gonna get some incense, vanilla, tonka bean, patchouli, and leather in this fragrance. Just an absolutely masterfully done fragrance, especially on the designer side of things. Another stellar fragrance from MIYAKE for wintertime is Ombre Noir. Why they made that fragrance go bye-bye is beyond me. It's not readily available around here anyway, so I don't know what it's like over, you know, if you're overseas and you can find them, let people know down in the comments, because that's one that a lot of people are on the hunt for, as well as a good deal on this one. Now this fragrance has a trifecta of what I really love this time of year. I love gourmands, I love boozy fragrances, and I love tobacco. This has all 3. It is NISHANE, Fan Your Flames, and it doesn't have the dent that Amber Calibria, but look at that. You can tell I've been wearing it. This one has amazing sillage. Now, it's not for everybody. It's, you know, a little bit slightly on the daring side, not like super like crazy complicated or anything. Now for the gourmand aspect, you're gonna have some tonka bean and toasted coconut. Then you're gonna mix that with rum for the boozy accord, and then you have some tobacco. So if that sounds like something that you'd vibe off of, yeah, this is really, really good. Now don't think like coconut like going to the tropics. Like I said, it's more like a toasty coconut, maybe like they would be like on the top of a cookie or something. I don't know exactly how to describe that if you haven't tried it, but there's like a slight smokiness, but you definitely get that booziness, that sweetness, the tobacco, just a little bit of everything. So for me, this is an absolute must-have for winter. Next designer fragrance, and yes, before you guys start like beating me up in the comments, Tom Ford is a designer. Yes, he is. And this does come from the private blend. It is Tobacco Oud Intense. As I've mentioned before, this is like the James Bond or black tie affair type fragrance. Oh yeah, I absolutely love this fragrance. The sillage performance on this is absolutely stellar. One of the best from the Tom Ford private blend as far as like getting your money's worth on that longevity, that sillage. And believe it or not, I do get a fairly decent amount of compliments from this fragrance. As a matter of fact, it might be one of my most complimented Tom Ford fragrances. You're gonna get a little bit of spiciness from coriander, and then obviously you're gonna have tobacco and oud, and then you're gonna have a really nice sandalwood on the dry down. But the way that that oud and sandalwood with that coriander and tobacco is blended is just like really, really good. You're gonna get all those notes into the dry down, so it's not like one stays at the top and just fades. It just stays very well blended and just projects and just kind of gives off like almost like an authoritative type scent. So if you're that alpha male, you know, kind of that HMFIC type dude, I don't know if you know that what that means, but just check on it. That's the head dude in charge, you know what I'm saying? This is that fragrance. So yeah, HMFIC or James Bond type fragrance, Tom Ford Tobacco Oud Intense. Show your support to Carolina Fragrance Reviews by checking out the merch store down in the description. There's a few new designs and a few new ones coming, and there's also a discount code that I'm gonna leave up until whenever. It's Disrupt20 to get 20% off of hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, whatever floats your boat, and again, new merch coming. Next niche fragrance is an absolute favorite of mine here lately. I mentioned how much I loved it a while back, and I actually pulled the trigger and got a bottle after I had a little sample, then I had a decant, and now I'm to bottle. This is Crème de CUIR. Now, BDK is doing something rather smart. They're doing the same thing that Creed and Parfums de Marly did. They are doing fragrances that are much more wearable. So yes, this is considered a leather fragrance, but it's not animalic. As a matter of fact, it's a very soft suede, but there's also a brightness from bergamot. You've got a little bit of sweetness from vanilla, and then you've got like a soft, like white suede note in here that just really makes this like fresh but creamy, seductive, just everything all at once. So dry down on this is absolutely magical. I know a lot of you are digging like Tobacco Rose or a couple of the other ones, but for me right now yes, those other ones are killer. I've been trying them all, but this is another favorite of mine as of right now. What Keep 10 list would be complete, especially for wintertime, without one of the Amen line? I'm going with Pure Malt this time. Yes, I usually pick Pure Havane, but you know I love my boozy fragrances. I was trying to diversify this enough where I'd get a little bit of everything. This is, you know, like top two for the Amen line for me anyway. This is just perfect. It's got a little bit of a smokiness. It also has a freshness, a sweetness, a booziness. There's nothing not to like about this fragrance. So you're gonna get a little bit of freshness off the top with that combo of bergamot orange on the top. Then you're gonna get some patchouli, vanilla, coffee, and musk. But that booziness is just smoky, and it's just so good. If you have not got around to trying Pure Malt, please just do yourself a favor and try it. This is an absolute must-have, and I actually have two bottles of this. I've got the original formulation, and I also have one of the refills of one of the newer formulations. I wear the newer one just when I need a little bit of a fix, but when you really want to smell the OG, just yeah. Good Lord of mercy. It was worth that little bit of extra cheddar I had to pay for a vintage batch. Now you guys know that I love my gourmands and my boozy fragrances. This, oh man, this is, if you have not tried this next one, you really need to get a sample of Cognac Cafe from Galleria Parfums. This is growing to like getting in that same realm with some of my favorites from KILIAN, like Intoxicated and Black Phantom. I've actually heard somebody say that this smells like Black Phantom. Not to me, it doesn't. In the same family, yeah, sure, I'll agree with that, but that's a pretty wide paintbrush. This is definitely unique in my opinion anyway. You've got that frothy coffee note on the top. You've got like almost like a toasted almond, some brown sugar, and of course you've got that cognac note that just plays so well with like a frothy coffee note and then a more robust coffee note as it dries down that really just kind of just pops up above like that brown sugar and almond. Oh yes, such a great fragrance. Amazing sillage and amazing performance. Now I don't care if I get compliments from dudes. Of course I prefer to get them from the ladies, but if a dude's like, man, you smell nice, hey, that's great, that's fine. He actually came into my place of work and he was like, man, what kind of cologne are you wearing? It just smells so, so good. He said the whole building smells like it, and I didn't like go spritzing like crazy, but this is extrait de parfum, so it is going to be a little bit louder and not to the point to where it's obnoxious, not overly cloyingly sweet, but just perfect. If you love gourmand coffee type fragrances, you need to check out Cognac Cafe. My next designer is going to be a must-have for a lot of you, I'm sure. It is DIOR Homme Intense. Now, of course, if you don't like iris fragrances, probably not. But as I said at one time, this is kind of like at one time was kind of a love-hate type fragrance for me. It's like I would like it, I didn't. I'd be like all about it and then I wouldn't. I have found that the ladies really dig iris fragrances, and that's something I've kind of discovered here in the past few months. Personal experiences, seeing like other ladies posting about it and stuff, but yeah, this is great. Now it is like that more lipsticky iris. You know, iris can be done a few different ways. If you haven't tried this fragrance, I would definitely recommend sampling before you buy, as goes for anything. But this one to me still can be kind of like a macho fragrance, yeah, with lavender and iris and all that. So other than that lavender and iris, it also has some vetiver and some cedar in here. It is an acquired taste for some, but one that is really, really growing on me, and one that would be a must keep for winter, at least right now. And for some of you, it'd probably be forever. Last but not least, I'm going to dub this fragrance the Sillage King. It is by KILIAN's Angel Share. This fragrance probably has one of the most intense scent trails, scent bubbles, just those of you who have tried this fragrance, I know there's like tons of you, anytime I mention this fragrance, like I want to try it, I want to try it, I want to try it, I want to try it. I wish that I just had like a big flacon of it and just send like every one of you guys a sample. If I had money like that, that's exactly what I would do. But take my word for it, if you get a chance to sample this, please do so. The cinnamon on this is just like, I know it's just spice, but that's what really makes this fragrance as far as the opening especially. This thing is a cinnamon bomb on the opening, and of course with that cinnamon, you're gonna have like some tonka bean and vanilla mixed with just like super, super spicy cinnamon on the top. And then you're also gonna get like that soaked oak barrel with cognac, and wow. So you get the booziness, you get the spiciness, you get the sweetness, you get the woodiness. It's just absolutely perfect. Absolute must-have for me. If it was like only keep 10, this would have to be in my niche collection, especially right now. I have fallen head over heels in love with this. Now I know I just got through talking about another cognac fragrance just a few minutes ago. They are not even closely similar, so don't think like, well, if you get Angel Share, don't get Cognac Cafe. Yeah, they are two separate entities. Remember, on Cognac Cafe you got that coffee steam and that dark coffee note. You don't get any of that in this. You get lots of like spicy cinnamon where you don't get that on that, so would not be redundant at all to own both, even though they share cognac. So that is my Keep 10 winter fragrances for life, and as promised, I am going to tag a few channels. The first channel that I would like to tag is my good mate George, the Fragrance Apprentice. George, let me see what you got, brother. And yes, I am answering your other tags that you tagged me on, so yes, I'm on that right now. So be looking for that, guys. Couple tags from George coming up very soon. Next channel I want to tag is my good friend Ashton over at Gent Sense. As a matter of fact, he just put a video out kind of similar to this not too long ago, and I was like, bro, I've been planning a video similar to that, so I'm not trying to copy your content at all, but you know, they say great minds think alike. And Ash just has that big brain of fragrances that just bounce everywhere. That is actually why we call him the Fragrance Jesus. And last but not least, we're gonna fly back over to the UK for my good friend Chris over at Fragmental. And Chris just got through tagging me as well. So yes, Chris, I will definitely get on that too as well. So that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Until next time, I'll see you on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.